This is me with 30 motion tracking nodes attached to my body. Each one of these tiny nodes is going to map my movement and transform them into visual art. My name is Maria Finkelmeier, and I'm a percussionist, composer, public artist, and professor at Berklee College of Music. I love working with institutions, cities, organizations, and communities to create large-scale, awe-inspiring pieces of multi-sensory art. In this video, I'm going to tell you how I came up with this concept, how we executed it, and at the very end, I'll show you the final pieces of art. So melody figments are pieces of digital art that represent the nuance of human touch as music is being performed. So what that means is I'm a musical performer, and when I play, my body moves in a very specific way. To hit a drum, to use a drumstick, my fingers, my arms, and my whole body is articulating that sound in a really specific way. If I want to make a soft sound, I might move slower, a loud sound, faster. And I also love to improvise while I play music. So I started to ask myself, what if my mallets or my sticks are paintbrushes? What would happen? What would they create? I'm so intentional with all of my body movements, just as a painter is so intentional with every stroke of a paintbrush. So I had the desire to capture that idea, to capture that musical moment, to show that in a visual landscape so a viewer could kind of see and hear a musical moment in a really, really new way. All right, so that's a lot of questions and a lot of dreams and visualizations. Now we need a team to really execute it, and that's where Mad Labs comes in. Mark, Roy, and the Mad Labs team are based in Dania Beach, Florida, and I had the pleasure of meeting them at a Coda Works Summit, a conference for people working in the public art space. I kind of talked about this idea, and Mark and Roy said, we are experimenting with motion capture, let's connect. And before I knew it, I was head to toe in a motion capture suit, which from a fashion standpoint was not my most favorite moment, but I think I rocked it. So after the time in the studio to record the piece of music that I had written for this moment, we had a lot of pieces of data. We had my full body kind of as an avatar in the gaming engine called Unreal. But we still had to leap over the step, which is to make art out of all of that motion. So at the time, and I do in general love to go on hikes, and I was thinking about as I was walking that I make lines as I play music. Like if I go like this, I strike, there's kind of this linear energy. You can follow my hand or you can follow a mallet through space. And I was thinking about how we could stack those lines of musical energy on top of one another. And while you're in the woods, I'm kind of looking around, and I remember it was kind of like a dewy morning, and I was seeing all of these very three-dimensional spider webs, you know, like the kind between rocks that look like they're like a foot deep. And so I just started to snap some pictures of these spider webs, and I kept thinking like, okay, I feel like the energy I'm talking about in this musical space is actually very much correlated to how a spider web exists. It's all of these like angles and linear energy together. So I presented that, and I presented my photographs, mood boards to the Mad Labs team, and they said, great, we think we're with you, we think we're in your brain, but give us some three-dimensional models. So this is where my time as a mother of two comes in really handy, because I have a subscription to Michaels. And I went and I got some materials. So we have some tulle, and we have some wire here. This is kind of planting wire. And I thought of each of these lines as kind of a really small moment, like a second of time, and how we could stack those seconds of time upon one another. So I had a Zoom with the team, and they were like, okay, I think we got it. So after presenting these physical models and these mood boards, it was time to prototype. Fernando at Mad Lab Studio started to use a particle system in Unreal Engine, which is a code that creates that linear energy and essentially kind of builds it on top of one another and kind of creates this cyclical generative visualization where each line becomes the visual energy. And we went back and forth. We looked at color, we looked at textures, we looked at thickness, we looked at weight of the linear energy, until we agreed upon and just kind of had the aha of, that's it. That's what we're looking for. And they became these webs of linear energy representing a musical moment. And the color is generated by listening to the music itself. So loud sounds get brighter colors and softer sounds get the darker colors. So along with kind of the three-dimensional lines, we're also getting a lot of color and texture based on the music itself. And as promised, here are a couple of melody figments for you to enjoy. So at the conclusion of this first experiment, we had a number of our first melody figments representing that time in the studio. But I wanted to take it a step further, and I said, I want this to also be part of the live music experience. Can we translate this into a live moment, and what would that look like? I didn't want to be in the beautiful motion capture suit in front of a live audience. So again, working with the team, we came up with a system where we use an infrared camera that can find my body on stage. It can translate my body data into the same program to create melody figments in real time. So now I've been able to do a number of live performances in which the live moment is projected on surfaces behind me or on LED screens, which I believe brings people into that moment in such a deeper level, because they're not only seeing my body physically in space, hearing the music, but they're also seeing this digital representation that kind of grows and moves with the music itself. And what I've heard is it becomes this very kind of immersive concert experience, unlike anything that they've seen before. And if you're interested in more of my projects merging music and technology, check out this video right here, where I transform a massive bridge into a music and light experience.